And we're live. Welcome to the Lakers Late Night Podcast. I'm Anthony Irwin. I am suffering from flu-like symptoms because New Year's Eve was last night. I'm joined by Harrison Fagan, who doesn't partake in the kind of activities that leads to said flu-like symptoms. But other than that, how are you feeling?
Yeah, man, I'm a notorious germaphobe, so I'm definitely not going to be getting sick. Although
Mm-hmm.
I could see you're staying hydrated, so that'll help you out.
Oh, this is ginger ale. Guys, I'm telling you, if your flu-like symptoms occur in the stomach, ginger ale is a lifesaver. Um, I hope people get these jokes.
Speaking of
Jokes should be
flu-like
made.
symptoms, the Lakers and Sixers play tonight.
Yeah, and gave the NBA a flu. Uh, the game wasn't pretty. The final score is right in front of me here, 93-84. The game was in the 60s, I believe, heading into fourth quarter, right? So it wasn't a pretty game. It was not so much that the defense was great; it's that the offenses were kind of gross. So it's hard to really take anything away from this kind of game. But where do you want to start? I'm thinking we start with the birthday boy.
Yeah, I think Larry Nance Jr. deserves a shout out today. He had another strong game. I think this is his fourth really good game in a row. 4 of 7
Mm-hmm.
shooting, career high 14 rebounds, 8 points, 0 turnovers. So that's all. It kind of like that one's always illustrative to me because it just shows you he's not really using up possessions to get his points and like do his damage on the floor. He just does a lot of the little things, as cliche as that sounds, and he's starting to develop a little bit of a jump shot.
Right. When we were there for Summer League and I had first saw him play, the immediate comp that I had for the guy was that he could technically play small forward, but he is a much better player when he's playing at the as a stretch four. And the guy that I kind of everybody says Draymond Green, Draymond Green, Draymond Green, because he's kind of the flavor of the month in that respect.
Yeah.
But I liken him to Sean Marion to a certain extent because he's such an incredible athlete. And Marion never, his shot, while statistically was pretty good, it never was pretty.
It didn't
Right.
look good,
So,
yeah. And Larry's looks
right.
good.
Yeah, it looks like, Larry's looks like something he could build off of. And if he starts hitting that three with that athleticism and what he might be able to offer defensively, I don't see he'd be a poor man's Sean Marion because Sean Marion is a borderline Hall of Famer. But that type of player, I think I could see that as a ceiling for Nance, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was doing some research today because he was telling Mark Medina of the LA Daily News that he had an article out today where Larry was talking about he believed that he could become a stretch four, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of the in vogue position right now. Everybody's looking for their team stretch four of the future just because Draymond Green has made that so in vogue, and the 7 seconds or less Suns before him, and Chris Bosh before that when he was playing at power forward and shooting jumpers, although he played a lot more stretch five towards when Miami was most effective. And
Mm-hmm.
Nance Jr. is actually shooting. I don't have this isn't including tonight, so this was his last 3 games before tonight, but he was actually shooting 70% on jumpers.
It's insane. Yeah, he's
Yeah. So I don't,
it's
while I
not
don't expect
sustainable.
that to continue, he's been really on a tear lately.
Well, he shot. This was kind of the annoying part of watching him play early in the season, in the preseason, and in summer league, was that I saw that in college he shot the ball from the mid range pretty well on spot up shots, and for whatever reason he came to the NBA and wasn't able to hit them. And I think a lot of that has to do with the pace and how fast the game happens around him. But as of right now, if he can, knock down 45, 50% of that shot, I think that's possible. I don't see how that wouldn't be a possibility.
And he even talked
70 is
about he
crazy.
thinks that he's going to try and work on taking it back to the 3-point line, which is kind of the first step on a lot of this stuff. Because a lot of the times the players don't feel, especially big guys, they don't feel as comfortable venturing that far away from the rim. So him openly talking about it already, that the 3-pointers are something that he wants to add to his game. And Byron Scott, I think, was saying that he already practices it in practice. And Byron said that he'd feel comfortable with Larry Nance Jr. shooting a 3 in a game. So I think that really says something, given his if you aren't Kobe, you can't shoot 3 stances.
Right. Yeah. If the position you play doesn't have shooting in the position, you're not allowed to shoot 3s. I do want to, the issue with talking about Nance as a stretch 4 is that it leaves, the follow-up question to that is, well, the Lakers have that Julius Randle guy who also plays at the 4. He's not a stretch 4. How does that work? I mean, we kind of lofted the idea.
He's starting to get a little bit stretchier, though. He's over the last I think it was after last game I ran the numbers on the previous 10, and he was only taking 1 attempt a game, but he had made 50% of his threes over that stretch, and he was taking about 1 a game. So again, another case of small sample size and not necessarily predicting larger term results where he's going to shoot 50% from 3 on the rest of his career. I think that it is showing that he's getting a little bit more range. And I've said the annoying thing to me about this is now people are suggesting that they need to be on the floor together, which I think, okay, maybe you could throw them out there together, but the answer is not to play one of them at small forward. They're not small forwards.
No, I agree. I completely agree. What I'd like to see, and this is the idea that we lofted out there, and it came back to me a couple of times actually on Twitter over the next couple of days after we lofted the idea in a show, was that why, if they're willing to play Brandon Bass at the 5 and he's not a rim protector at all, well, then why not just shift Lance over to the 5, who's more athletic, he won't be nearly as good as Brandon Bass, who already isn't very good at that position because he's so young and he's never really played that spot really at all. But why not try to play the 2?
Bass played a lot of center, though. I've started to come around on how much worse can it actually be.
No, that's what I mean. Like
on defense. Bass, to be fair to Bass, he's bounced back offensively the last couple weeks, but the defense is horrible. I don't know that the defense can get that much worse with Nance Jr. replacing Bass as the center in those small ball lineups.
The major difference between him and Bass is that Bass has been in the NBA for quite some time, right? So he can at least kind of learn on the fly how to, position himself and that stuff. But what Nance, lacks in that category, he might be able to make up for with his athleticism that he has over Bass, which, really helps. If you get up there in the air and you figure out verticality, you can become a serviceable guy at that spot. If I'm the Lakers, they have to at least try it, because their future is affected by whether or not he and Julius Randle can play together. It wouldn't be a permanent thing, but you would hope that, at least for short stretches, those 2 guys could play together to a certain extent.
Yeah, and if Nance can continue to show a little bit of the range that he's showing now, and he can be a credible small ball center, then all of a sudden those roster fit issues aren't really issues as much anymore. Or you're at least raising his or Randall's. You can at least start to think down the line about trading him or Randall and getting some real value back in return. And the thing that with Bassett center, Eric Pincus was reporting, I remember earlier this year, the Lakers were playing him there because Nance Jr.'s ascendance left not a lot of power forward minutes, and so they wanted to get Bass on the floor, try and recoup some of his value before the trade deadline. So I think that even if he's not traded, I think that after starting in February, a little after the trade deadline, whatever, we might start to see them experiment a bit more with Randle Nance front court.
and it'd be fun. It'd be something. It obviously wouldn't be the lineup of death or whatever it's called, the death lineup for Golden State. But it'd be a lot of fun to see Russell. Like, I'd go all rookies. Why not? All young guys. Russell, Clarkson, Brown, Randle, Nance, and just see how it goes. Let those guys go out there. They're going to struggle. It's going to get ugly really, really quickly, but at least see what you got. That's what this season is about. Becomes an extended tryout for all these guys.
Yeah, and speaking of seeing what you got, I liked them throwing Brown out there again and giving him another shot with Kobe out, and instead of going to Meta like they were earlier in the season. As much as I love Meta personally, I think all Lakers fans have a soft spot for him. It's good to see Brown getting those minutes, and it was good to see him bounce back. It turns out that he looks a little bit better against the Sixers than he does guarding Kevin Durant.
Weird.
It's funny how that stuff works out sometimes. Yeah.
I don't understand it. Basketball, it's still suffering flu-like symptoms. It must be. I did want to talk a little bit about, before we'll get back to Randle in a bit, but something that stuck out to me tonight was that Russell statistically struggled, I thought. This wasn't one of his stronger games. And for stretches of the games, I wouldn't say he looked disinterested, but it wasn't the type of play that he has shown, for the bulk of since he's kind of gone to the bench. But I think I saw somewhere he was plus 11, which kind of shows that even when he's not playing very well, he figures out other ways to impact the game. What do you think's going on there?
You stole my note. I was actually going to compare it a little bit to how Kobe at times earlier in his career, and even at times this year, he would have a really bad statistical shooting night, but he would still do other things like tonight and find other ways to fill that box score and try and help his team get a win. Like tonight, Russell actually had 5 assists, which is above his average, and he was a little sloppy with the ball. He had 4 turnovers too, but he pulled down 3 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. He was just kind of, and then he really was the shout out to Marcelo Huertas, was the catalyst in that fourth quarter run when the Lakers really pulled away, and then they started to kind of fall apart again when he went to the bench, and then fully collapsed almost when Randle went to the bench. Like if they had not built such a big lead, Byron pulling them would have lost the Lakers the game.
That stretch where, and again, it's against the Sixers, so the caveat and it's
permanent asterisk of it's against the Sixers.
Yeah, it's against the Kentucky Wildcats. But I was it was a lot of fun when that stretch of when the game opened up and it became a lot more transition stuff, and it was highlighted by D'Angelo Russell's play. Let's just talk about the play, because
that touch pass to Randle, I thought, number one, I think that almost blew the roof off Staples Center. And, man, Twitter knows how to overreact. And I don't even know that it was an overreaction. That was an awesome play. But it was, my feed was just like a slot machine for like about a minute after that. It was just everybody getting their jokes and analysis in.
It was funny because you had, there's a bunch of people in different time zones, and the game's on different channels for them, whatever's going on. If they're streaming the game illegally, do your thing. But it was really cool to see how it's kind of like it would first trickle in. Oh my God, what a play by Russell. And then I was in that second kind of stream of, all right, I can't wait to see what just happened. Oh my God, that just happened, and then it just kind of developed after that. My poor wife was sleeping on the couch next to me, also suffering from flu-like symptoms. And I woke her the hell up. I apologize for that one, but it was so cool. It was a great lead pass by Lou, who's developed that fairly well. And I don't even know how Russell saw Randle. I really don't. I thought it was a missed pass
with the eyes in the back of his
head. And then
off the reflection of a bald guy in the front row or something. Like, I don't know. That was amazing.
Wearing glasses.
Yeah.
And then to bring the entire story full circle, Byron Wet Blanket Scott decides, all right, enough of that crap. We can't have the play of the year happen.
Enough of that crap. I love that.
and Byron and Russell finds himself sitting on the damn bench.
We need Lou Williams to get out there and draw some fouls. Slow this game down.
There's no way to find this, statistically. We were talking a little bit before the show about it, but did you notice? I noticed that the energy in the arena just kind of is kind of like a little fart noise. It just kind of, oh man, Russell's out again. Did you notice that at all, or was I looking for things because I'm not a big Byron fan?
No, I think the Lakers definitely played worse once D'Angelo went to the bench. The Sixers ended up, after Russell went out, the Sixers outscored the Lakers 14-10. But then when Randle went out a couple minutes later, the Sixers actually briefly went on an 8-0 run to almost get themselves back into the game a little bit. And I
Right.
agree with you. I think that the energy, not necessarily just from the arena, but the energy on the team was just different when Russell wasn't out there, and it wasn't like, okay, every time we get a rebound, just run. We're going to make something happen against the Sixers team.
Yeah, I think
And the
it's
bench
impossible.
celebrations were awesome tonight.
Oh, they're great.
Shout out to Sacre, lead cheerleader. We
Yeah.
had Sacre going crazy doing dances a couple times. Larry Nance Jr. was pretending to be a plane at one point. It was it was lit.
I wish they would have picked up another tee. I wish they would have got another technical.
Oh, well, D'Angelo wasn't on the bench, so he couldn't get a tee for running out there onto the court.
I wish D'Angelo would have, he didn't even dunk it, but I wish he would have gone and hung on the rim. Just why not?
I saw the other night he got so excited about a call he dapped up a ref.
I love that kid. And, it's kind of, again, it speaks to everybody in the organization and everybody paying attention to the Lakers understands how vital Russell is to the growth of this entire franchise, right? So when he gets pulled, that's why the energy in the arena just kind of seeps out, even if it's minimally. It's because everybody's saying, what the hell is going on?
Well, that's why you have all those people, I know you have them too, all those egg avatars on your mentions telling you he's a bust anytime you say something remotely good about him.
Oh, they're the best. Oh, they're the best. What was I going to say? Oh,
Sorry.
Well, I was going to say, because the play right after, the play right after the pass to Randle, he drove by Jahlil Okafor and laid it in, and again, you just see everybody. It's kind of it's Kobe-esque how, when Kobe does anything at Staples Center, the roof is they should have a retractable roof at this point. With Russell, you're kind of seeing that same kind of relationship form, the foundations of which is being set. And when Byron pulls this stuff, everybody there is just thinking, what the hell, Byron? What are you doing? I might be making too much of it than should be, but whatever. That's what we're paid to do.
Wait, we're getting paid now?
Oh, whoops. I'm just kidding. You wanted to talk a little bit about a change in Randle's game, a shift in what he's been, doing lately. You go ahead and go into the specifics of that, because I think it's a very good point.
Well, I don't know about lately, but tonight it looked like he really made a concerted effort to get to the rim. And again, huge asterisk. It's the Sixers. Somebody needs to make that logo for us. Just an asterisk that said it's the Sixers. But
yeah.
But Randle, I think, had 4 dunks tonight. I think 4 of his shots were dunks tonight. And it just looked like his New Year's resolution was, hey, I'm 6'9", 250 pounds. I'm just going to dunk everything. You only live once, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
If I was Randle, I'd be trying to dunk everything. I know that.
I mean, I wonder if that's some of what Byron is saying about energy-wise. If Byron wasn't content with Randle just kind of sitting back and going for mid-range jumpers or whatever floating around the perimeter. If he doesn't want that, then it's good to see Randle say, all right, then coach, here I go, and I'll play this way. And eventually it'd be nice to see a rookie rewarded accordingly.
Yeah.
That, we're still waiting for that. He's just such a force of nature. He's so strong. Like, I don't know of any defender, once he gets his shoulder by him, that's
there aren't
right.
a lot of players like Randle when it's like when he gets into the lane, it's just get out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
In
He's
the
very
league
good
right now, I know LeBron's like that. Draymond Green is like that to a degree at times. DeMarcus Cousins is like get out of the way. That's a freight train. But there aren't a lot of guys where it just looks like defenders are legitimately scared of what's going to happen if they collide with him. Scared for him, scared for themselves, scared for the fans around them, having to deal with shrapnel.
Families watching at home.
Yeah.
Don't want to get
that's when Larry Nance Jr. jumps towards the rim. Then you got to worry about, like, Larry, that guy has a family. You can't.
Exactly. I would say Randle is closer to the Boogie type of force of nature, where it's like, because he's not going to jump over anybody. He doesn't have that kind of leaping ability, but he does have that. I'm going to get really low.
Inflict some pain.
My shoulder is going into your sternum, and it's going to hurt really, really badly. So just move and let me make my layup. And I think right now we're seeing a lot of players just kind of say, this is a business decision.
You know what? It's only 2 points. Yeah, I don't like. We're up by 20. I'm just gonna.
I don't need to miss 2 weeks. I don't need to miss 2 weeks because I stopped 2 points. Go ahead and do your thing, Randall. Whatever.
I literally don't have it in my heart to take this.
I'm afraid of what might happen to my physical being. All right. So, anything else that you wanted to add on Randall?
No. I think that's it.
All right. So we'll wrap up. It is a new year. The Lakers are undefeated in 2016. I'm taking credit for being the first person to say that. It happened like 7 times after the Lakers actually won. Trademark, you guys all owe me 5 cents for those tweets.
People stealing tweets all over the place.
Oh, I don't want to say what's on my mind right now.
Yeah, you probably
shouldn't. The Lakers, you head into any New Year's with resolutions. I told you mine on the last show. The Lakers, do you have any that the Lakers should set for themselves?
Well, Randall's dunk everything was certainly nice. I think I think the New Year's resolution is to try and play the young guys a little bit more, kind of like we talked about. Really get those lineups out there that are just a couple first-year guys. Try and get them at least a couple token minutes a game, where it's just young guys out there learning. The veterans are becoming less and less important as the stretch of this season goes on, and the team has 7 wins.
Mm-hmm. I would completely agree, and I would add to that the Lakers around D'Angelo Russell need to make a resolution or maintain their resolution of cutting and moving as much as they possibly can. He's so good at finding guys. He's so good at creating angles for passes. Actually, as I'm watching right now, Time Warner is showing a back cut that Jordan Clarkson made with Randle going up for a shot. And it's great to see that kind of chemistry building as we get to watch before it. Again, the caveat is not just that it happened against the Sixers, but they need to be on the court together as much as possible to continue to learn those things.
Yeah. And so hopefully that'll start to happen more in 2016.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. So those 2 things, I would completely agree. Play the young guys more, and everybody else on the court around Julius Randle move, or not Julius Randle, D'Angelo Russell. Move, cut, do all those good things, get out in transition, and craziness like we saw in that touch pass tonight can actually happen. That was a lot of fun. It was an ugly game, but it was a lot of fun. This is one of those rare occasions where you don't really have that many complaints other than Byron.
Other than the young guys getting benched down the stretch, but even then it was like Larry Nance Jr. replaced Randle, and he was having a really good game, and he's also a young guy. And Lou Williams replaced D'Angelo Russell. Was it Lou Williams or Clarkson that came in for I think it was Clarkson,
Lou.
actually.
I think it was.
Oh, was it Lou?
But I'm pretty sure it was Lou.
We really should have done some research on this beforehand.
Either way.
It was Jordan Clarkson. So again, it's a young guy replacing a young guy, so that's a little better. And Lou Williams was not as good as I thought tonight. He had a really good start to the game, finished a little less strong. But 10 and 12 free throws, and I guess Byron, if Kobe's not in there, Byron's got to play some veteran for, whatever reason down the stretch.
Way to go, Byron. Way to go. All right, that does it for the New Year's Day edition of Lakers Late Night. Lakers win again 93-84 over the Philadelphia 70 Tankers. This was another fun show here tonight. Thank you very much for joining, Harrison.
All right, shout out to Swaggy P running up the budget.
Oh, we haven't played. Did you see any Byron quotes about this?
He did say that the most awkward segue, but yeah, he said that the Lakers should throw a parade for their team's 2-game winning streak. So yeah, so by a sarcastic Lakers coach, Byron Scott, give us a parade, man. And then Nick Young quoted that same Kanye verse I did just there in an Instagram post after the game, because his 2016 was already made in 2015 when he got that Kanye shout out. He is now shooting 3 of 11 since Kanye shouted him out. So he might need to get a little bit more humble. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe Meek Mill needs to shout him out on the next one. Drake needs to shout him out or something. All right.
I can tell you that's the extent of your knowledge of rap.
Basically. All right, everybody. We'll see you again on when? Friday?
Sunday. Today is Friday. Man, you really got those flu-like symptoms hard.
Woof. Yep. All right.
6:30, Lakers play the Suns on Sunday.